And we're back. Hall here with another Hall of Code lesson. Let's dive right in. We're going to be looking at classes and IDs. The class selector selects elements with a specific class attribute value. To select all elements within a specific class, you will write a period character followed by the class attribute in CSS. For ID selectors, you will select the element with an hashtag in CSS. Now the difference between IDs versus classes is that IDs have a hashtag, classes have a period. Also, we're going to look at how IDs can be used to style one specific element, whereas classes are used to style multiple elements. We have a H1 with the word class and ID, and I put that. We're also going to look at comments in a little bit as well. So let's begin. We're going to first type a div, and inside that div, we're going to type a paragraph with 30 words of dummy text. All right, and so in the past, when we select a particular element, in this case, we have a div. We're going to also put an H2 in there, and we'll say title. And we're also going to add an image. And in this image, we'll say IMG1. So we're going to take this particular div and we're going to hold Shift, Alt, and the down arrow to copy it. And we're going to do it 2 times. Well, 3 times. All right. So we have 3 different ones. All right. This first title, I'm going to say div with no class or ID. The second title, I'll say div with class. The third one would be div with ID. And then this next one, we'll just leave it blank for now. All right, so this first div has no class. Well, actually, none of them have a class. Let's go to style, and we're going to style the div. And we're going to give it a BC or a background color, and we're going to just call it Alice Blue. All right. And that looks too close to the original. All right, there you go. So notice that all of the divs now look the same. But if I change this div, so the first div is going to stay as is. If I change the second div here and I added a class, and I'm going to call this blue box. Now I can go into my style and put a period blue box, and I could style this particular div with the background of blue by adding that period. If I took the period out, then it's going to go back to the original div style. So make sure you put the period. And why did you put a period? Because you gave it a class name. All right, this next one here, we're going to give it an ID name. And we'll call this orange box. And we're going to come down. This one is going to be orange. And we're going to name this orange. Okay, so we have orange box. Now, notice nothing happened. Why? Because this is an ID. Okay, so IDs don't use periods. What do they use? Hashtags. Okay. So now, orange box with the ID of orange box has the background color of orange. Now, let's take a look at this next one here. We're going to keep this as a regular div, okay? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the image an ID. And I am going to call this image ID, let's go red box. Okay. And all right. So this last one here looks just like the first one. But watch what happens by changing the image. We can also, we don't have to always have the class and ID be on a div. It could be on anything. It could be on an image. So we're going to go red box. And now look what happened. We have a hashtag because it's an ID, and its background is orange because an ID can actually be fitted inside of a div. Even if this was the class, let's say go back, was the class blue box. So let's say if this div was a blue box, and I'm going to show you another way to type divs. I'm going to type period blue dash box and hit enter, and I'll just get rid of the closing div. And so now look what happens. This particular Scooby-Doo still has that orange background because it has an ID. Okay, well, we call the ID red box. So red box was the ID, and so it should be red, not orange. There we go. All right, but I kind of like another, well, we'll keep it at red. Let's say we wanted to style the paragraph. We'll call this text green. We're going to add text dash green. And we're going to give it a color of green. And that green is kind of dark, so let's go with something more visible. All right, and so now you have a class with the color of green in your paragraph. Now let's take a look at comments. Comments can be used to explain the code and its hidden content. You can add comments to your HTML source by this following syntax. If you see here, you have the angle bracket, then you have the exclamation mark, then you have two dashes, then you write your comment, and then you have your two dashes and your angle bracket as well. For CSS comments, you have a slash with an asterisk, then an asterisk with a slash. I'm going to show you an easy way in which I write my comments. And so I'm going to say div with no class or ID. I'm going to highlight this and I'm going to hold Command or Control and slash, and it automatically gives me that comment. Now, I'll show you what the second comment here that I'm going to make here. This is going to be for, all right, we call that blue box. So if I say div with blue box, you see that it shows up here. All right, but if I take my mouse, Control or Command slash, it disappears because now it's hidden because it's a comment. Okay, and so we can also do the same thing in our CSS. In our CSS, we're going to say styling IDs. Take your mouse, drag over, Command or Control slash, and it automatically gives you the comment. And we'll go here, we'll call this styling classes. Take your mouse, Command or Control and slash, and there you have it.